Hello everyone, welcome. It's good to be back with another video. So today we're going to talk about the Anbernic RG552. It looks like there are some new leaked photos of the device as well as a possible release date. So we're going to talk about all of that in this video. And I also want to do a little bit of a summary as well for people who don't know about the devices yet. So we're going to go over the specs as well as what type of games it can play. Okay, so if you like this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and we have a Discord server, so come along and join us there, and I'll leave a link in the description below. So Anbernic is a company in China who make these retro handheld devices, and they use these low-power mobile processor chips where oftentimes they are not useful for higher-end smartphones, so they get repurposed to do something else. And in this case, they're suitable for handheld devices. Now, last year, Anbernic came out with a RG351P, which was a $85 to $90 device, which could play up to PlayStation 1 games, and it could do a little bit of Dreamcast and PSP as well, but not really. So that was a really popular device because for 85 bucks, you couldn't get anything that could play that many games on a handheld, and the build quality was really good as well. So this year, looks like we have the RG552 coming. We have some leaked photos, so we'll look at those first, and then we'll talk a little bit about the release date as well. But let's go over the leaked photos. So this is a photo that came out a few days ago now of the RG552, and as you can see, there's a hole cut into the back of the device, and obviously that is going to be an air inlet for the active cooling fan that they've got inside there. So this is going to help with temperatures and also with performance as well. So this is going to help boost that performance a little bit more than if you don't have that fan. Now, the other thing of note is the adapter input. It says here 9 to 12 volts and 2.5 amps. Now, if I'm looking on my RG351P, this actually says 5 volts, 1.3 amps, and also includes a battery spec as well, which is 3,500 milliamp hours. So if I were to guess, then I would say, based on the fact that it has adapter input 9 to 12 volts, 2.5 amps, I would say that the battery spec is probably a little bit higher than the RG351P, so it could be something in the order of like 5,000 to 6,000 milliamp hours. So this photo came out a few days ago as well, and for those familiar with the RG351P, I think the RG552 is just going to be a lot bigger given the screen size, and I've gone over this in my previous video, so make sure to go and check that video out if you haven't already done so. And in that video, I talk about the size and dimensions of the device itself. So this photo is really interesting because, as you can see here, this is pretty much the finished device, and I'm going to assume that this is going to be one of those mass-produced models that they've picked up off the production line here because it's complete in the box itself. And as you can see, this version has the colored letters on the buttons, whereas if I go back to the previous photo here, it doesn't have the colored buttons. So this one here might actually just be a pre-production device, and this one here is the final finished product. And you can see that they've kept the same RG351P style of box, plus also the plastic inlet, which I wasn't really too fond of, but obviously they're trying to keep costs down, so I can see why they're doing that. It does cheapen the whole product overall, but honestly, like once you take it out of that box and the plastic inlet, you kind of forget about all of that, and the device is actually a really good build quality. So this is another photo that they released, and this might actually be on the pre-production device because the letters on the buttons aren't actually colored anymore, but that's okay because at least you can see here the size of the bezels itself, and the bezels are thinner on the top versus the size itself, but I don't think it's too bad overall. I'm pretty happy with that, personally speaking. So this photo is showing the Android operating system running on the RG552, but I've also included a Discord message from Time is Art. He says that some pics from Max Joe, he says it will have Android and Batocera dual system. Now in the rumored specs, there is a dual micro SD card slot or card slots. So I'm guessing that you're going to be able to dual boot from either of your micro SD cards. Now, as you can see there with the Android operating system, it has your very typical emulation apps like Dolphin, Drastic, NeoEmu, and NesEmu. Alright, let's talk about the release date, and this is a video on Bilibili, and I believe this is secondhand information, so not from Max Joe himself, but somebody who took it from Max Joe. And it says here, important news, Brother Joe's open source handheld RG552 will be launched on November the 11th. I'm really looking forward to it. Then it goes on to say, the RG552 open source computer is a dual system handheld. It has been mass produced and is scheduled to be launched in November 2021. I am Joe's Iron Fan. Now, 11/11 is a really big shopping day in China, so it's no surprise that Anbernic would choose that as a day to release their product, because obviously there's going to be a lot more people looking at this device on that day, so probably a lot more people buying the device as well. Now, in terms of other regions like in the US or Europe or in the West itself, we don't know when it's going to be coming out there, but you just got to keep your eyes for it. Maybe it will release on AliExpress at the same time or at similar times. So you just have to keep an eye out for it on the Anbernic AliExpress store. As well as if you follow me on Twitter, I'll also post about it. And also if you join the Retro Handheld Discord channel, you can also keep up to date that way of news about the device itself. So for those new to the RG552, these are the rumored specs as of now, and I believe this is a community spreadsheet posted on Google spreadsheet somewhere, and I don't actually know the source of this, so if you know, make sure to comment below so I can give credit to the person who made the spreadsheet or who's keeping it up to date. But as you can see there, the RG552 will have a Rockchip 3399, which is a dual-core A72 and a quad-core A53, and the clock speeds will be 2 GHz on that A72 and 1.5 GHz on the A53, and the GPU clock speed will be 600 MHz on a Mali T860 MP4. The screen size we already know about is 5.5 inches. I think the resolution is interesting. It says here it's 1920 by 1152, so a little bit taller than your typical 1920 by 1080. And I'm not going to read all the rest of the specs out, and you can just take a look at that yourself. But I will look at that final comment, the final comment where it says emulation limits, and it says SNES, FX, and 3D PS1 60 FPS. Nintendo 64, Dreamcast, PSP is playable, Saturn is somewhat playable, and GameCube mostly unplayable. So I think that's really interesting what this can do, because as you know, Powkiddy X18S has just come out, and that can play some GameCube games. We don't know how many as yet, but people are testing that out right now and finding out that it can definitely play some GameCube games. So I think that's really interesting, because that system is $172 retail price as of now, and you can get like a $10 off coupon to make it $162. So I think this system really runs it close if the price estimate is like $140 to $150. I think if the Powkiddy X18S is $162, I think this system really needs to be something like $120, $130. So about $30 less, because it doesn't play as many GameCube games. Anyways, that's about it for me for this one. I hope you enjoyed that look at the RG552 once again. And if you did, make sure to click the like button, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.